1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1. What's up?
Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. If you've never watched any of my videos before, nice to meet you. I'm Michelle Carpenter, and on my channel I use my personal experience and research to educate on the myths, mendacity, and manipulation tactics used by multi-level marketing distributors to recruit people in vulnerable positions into what, in my opinion, is a pyramid scheme. If you're a fan of this type of anti-scam, consumer education-centered content, please like the video because this helps me to know what kind of topics my viewers are interested in seeing and what I should cover in the future. And if you aren't already, please feel free to become a subscriber and ring the bell if you would like to be notified when I post videos in the future. Lately, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection surrounding the type of content that I create and put out into the world, and I have decided to do a little bit of a relaunch, if you will. I'm not rebranding, but I just want to let you know not to expect very many reaction, commentary-based videos on this channel going forward. I admit it's fun to film and that kind of thing, but it isn't the type of content that I feel called to create anymore, if that makes sense. Going forward, I will be focusing more on education and talking with others about the manipulation tactics used in MLM in a broader sense. And that will start today with this hopefully helpful summary of cognitive dissonance, which is something people in any kind of abusive relationship may begin to feel when manipulation tactics are being used on them. But before we begin this new series, let's get some disclaimers out of the way. First, everything I have to say in this video today is my own opinion, informed by personal experience in the multi-level marketing industry and a lot of independent research. Any references made to anyone currently in the MLM industry should be taken as criticisms of their behaviors and the behaviors they promote in other people, not of them as a person. Further, I will be hiding the identities of anyone I do mention who is currently in the MLM industry unless that person presents themselves as a public figure. And finally, as I have said since I started this channel, while I wouldn't turn down an offer to be compensated for the time that I spend making videos, this is not a job for me. It's a labor of love and good old Catholic guilt. And for this reason and the fact that I'm a mommy, a full-time technology professional, and a small business owner, I don't hold myself to any specific schedule when it comes to uploading new videos. I hope you understand. Now, let's learn about cognitive dissonance. If you are a regular consumer of anti-MLM content, you have probably heard the term cognitive dissonance used many times, and not very often explained or defined. More times than not, anti-MLM creators use the term to describe the icky feeling one might get in their gut when they have been indoctrinated by their company and uplines to believe that if you work hard, you will be successful. But then see with their own eyes what kind of paycheck the majority of hard workers in MLM actually receive. This isn't wrong. That's absolutely a sign of cognitive dissonance. But with this video, my goal is to help you as a viewer to be able to define cognitive dissonance, to better understand what it means to experience cognitive dissonance, and hopefully to give you some tools to help you recognize and act on it in your own life. The Oxford Dictionary defines cognitive dissonance as the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitudes, especially as relating to behavioral decisions and attitude change. John P. Kuna, medical editor at emedicinehealth.com, says that cognitive dissonance refers to a feeling of mental discomfort that occurs when a person has conflicting thoughts, beliefs, ideas, attitudes, information, or behaviors. The inconsistency and discomfort lead to a change in thoughts, beliefs, ideas, attitudes, or behaviors in an attempt to reduce the discomfort, restore balance, and eliminate the dissonance. I want to read a short snippet from Stephen Hassans' analysis of undue influence in the multi-level marketing turned sex cult, NXIVM, that talks about the origins of this terminology. In 1957, psychologist Leon Festinger published his seminal work on what has become known as cognitive dissonance theory. Festinger summarized cognitive dissonance's basic principle this way: if you change a person's behavior, his thoughts and feelings will change to minimize the dissonance. what did Festinger mean by dissonance? In basic terms, he was referring to the conflict that occurs when a thought, a feeling, or behavior is altered in contradiction to the other two. A person can tolerate only a certain amount of discrepancy between his thoughts, feelings, and actions, which, after all, make up the different components of his identity. Festinger's theory states, and a great deal of later research has confirmed, that if any one of the three components changes, the other two will shift to reduce the dissonance. More from Dr. Hassans' work, including how cognitive dissonance specifically applies to cults, can be found on his website, www.freedomofmind.com. Now that we've heard some more official definitions of what cognitive dissonance is, I would really like to play for you a couple of videos. I know in the intro I kind of implied that I would be playing videos of other people who are still in MLM, and maybe that I would need to hide their identity, blur out their faces, things like that. I actually found that I didn't have to dig that deep at all. So what I'm going to play for you now are two videos of my own, of me. One from when I was in Red Aspen, a makeup MLM, and one from when I was in Beachbody. And I think that once you see the videos, you'll know why. So let's go ahead and start with this video from right after I first joined Red Aspen. Hey. So I've never done a Facebook Live video, but here I am. Hi, you're the only one on here yet. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on kind of my life, I guess. A quick one. I know that most of you probably have seen that I joined Red Aspen as brand ambassador, which is a fantastic for women by women makeup company that I just absolutely adore. We're in them right now. And I just kind of wanted to explain myself a little bit because I've been super anti multi-level marketing for a really long time. I'm just tired, you know? I'm just tired of feeling like crap. My health has been less than ideal this summer. So I've been in the hospital a couple of times and don't really know what's up. But, you know, when Stephanie introduced me to Red Aspen products and she was so excited about it and it really changed her attitude on life, I got super pumped about it. I love false eyelashes and I love all the other products that they carry. So I just kind of decided to jump on board sight unseen, and I'm really excited that I did. The group of people that I'm working with have really been kind of inspiring and motivational, and it's really helped me out the past couple of weeks getting through some shitty mental health and physical health BS. And I don't know, I've been tired all the time, and so I need something to come home to after my day job and perk me back up, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to give you an update, kind of explain why I'm doing this Red Aspen thing. And if you'd like to support me at all, I'm having a party, a Facebook party tomorrow night. Having a Facebook party tomorrow night to kind of launch my business. And if you're interested in supporting me in that way, it would be really awesome. Hey, if you could, you know, just hit me up. Let me know if you want an invite. Absolutely no obligation to do anything at all, except it just means that you'll maybe stop by while we're online tomorrow giving demos of the products and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of why I just wanted to kind of explain that because it's not something I would have expected me to do a couple of weeks ago. Well, several weeks ago. But yeah, please hit me up about tomorrow night. Stop in online if you want, and like and subscribe. I don't know. I don't know how Facebook Live works, so love you. Bye. So, just wow. Let's take a look at how my cognitive dissonance started to reveal itself when I was in Beachbody. And fun fact, this video is from 1 year ago. It showed up in my Facebook memories the other day. I've been holding out on trying Bevy, our skinny tea, because I don't know, I can just drink regular tea and skip a snack without needing something to help with that, because it's suppresses your appetite. Anyway, I held out until they came out with one that is caffeinated, pretty heavily caffeinated. So I'm about to try it. I just made myself my first cup of the caffeinated, 100 milligrams of caffeine, I think. Pomegranate berry tea. Tastes like tea.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Sorry, that was a lie. This is disgusting. It tastes like crushed up pills. Okay. I might be able to make it better somehow. So that was extremely embarrassing. And I don't really feel like I need to give much more of an explanation as to why those two videos were relevant. But please feel free to leave me some comments if it's not clear, because I'd love to have this conversation. So what should you do if you feel that weird flutter? When you get the funny feeling way down low. Okay, sorry. Cocoa melon aside, stop what you're doing and go, go, go. I'm potty training right now. Anyway, so what should you do if you're starting to feel that little flutter? If you think you might be experiencing cognitive dissonance yourself? Well, if you are in fact experiencing it, you're most likely already attempting to resolve it without even realizing it. That is kind of human nature, because as humans, generally speaking, we tend to reject dissonance, and our subconscious is probably already trying to resolve the conflict. It's just not getting the job done, right? So I think that in order to truly resolve cognitive dissonance, you first need to identify which of the three main causes of cognitive dissonance you are dealing with, because that will kind of determine what actions you take to get rid of the ick. So John Kuna breaks down the causes of cognitive dissonance into three high-level categories: forced compliance, decision-making, and effort. Forced compliance behavior. This is generally a situation in which a person is forced to perform an action that is inconsistent with their beliefs and values, like a small-time pot dealer who gets mugged and isn't able to pay back his connection and is then forced to drive to Mexico and back on a cross-border drug run with a bunch of randoms from his apartment building, acting like his wife and children, but then they all end up in witness protection together and live happily ever after, just like a real family. Which begs the question, if Jason Sudeikis hired his neighbor Jennifer Aniston to play the part of his wife for a road trip because he's acting under forced compliance, and then through myriad near-death experiences and high-speed chases in an ancient RV, they trauma bond and then go into witness protection together, so it would be nearly impossible to leave if either of them wanted to? Who is to blame? So I didn't intentionally set out for that tangent about We're the Millers to end up being relevant. But if you continue to follow the train of logic, you might agree that the real entity at fault for anything that may then happen to Jennifer Aniston because she was talked into accompanying Jason Sudeikis is ultimately the drug dealer that forced Jason Sudeikis to go to Mexico in the first place without any guarantees of safety. Sure, Jason bears the blame for endangering the lives of his neighbors alongside his own, and I definitely question Jen's judgment for accepting the offer, but at the end of the day, I believe the dealer is at fault. That said, perhaps if the legislators and other elected officials in America would listen to their constituents and begin to loosen and lift some of the stringent and uncompassionate laws that have come out of the disastrous war on drugs, lift marijuana prohibition, and focus on reasonable regulation and quality control, even the dealer wouldn't be in the position to demand this of Jason Sudeikis, who, let's be honest, would definitely rather buy his weed from a dispensary than a gang. So, balls in your court, Federal Trade Commission. Category 2. Decision making. This is most likely the form of cognitive dissonance we feel the most because nearly everything we do requires some level of decision making. Making decisions can create dissonance when they involve choosing one alternative over another. Here's an example from John Kuna again. A person gets a job offer in a great city, but rejecting the offer means getting to stay near friends and family. Both choices have positives and negatives. If the person takes the job, they will miss their loved ones. But if they turn down the job offer, they may miss opportunities available in the city that they would be moving to. Category 3. Effort. Here is one that is heavily prevalent in multi-level marketing in many facets of life, actually, but especially heavily promulgated in MLM is the human tendency to place a higher value on goals that require a great deal of effort to achieve. Effort-based cognitive dissonance is created when somebody spends a lot of effort to achieve a high-value goal, but the prize is not all it's cracked up to be. Did I just quote Jessica Hickson? Kuna says, and will recognize this behavior, that in order to avoid the cognitive dissonance, most people try to convince themselves that they either didn't put a lot of effort into it, or that they enjoyed the effort, or they just attempt to convince themselves that the goal turned out positively, called effort justification. Now that hopefully you have enough foundation to identify what type of cognitive dissonance it is you may be feeling, let's touch briefly on some ways you might begin to address and resolve that inner conflict. If you have been previously or currently are a distributor in an MLM who has ever recruited anyone else into the business, it is likely that at least one cause or contributing factor to your cognitive dissonance is forced compliance behavior. Of course, no one that I'm aware of is out there sending cold messages with a literal gun to their head. But thanks to the coercive control, a topic for another video, probably, whether from your upline or the company you work for or both, you are being unduly influenced to recruit more people into a business model where they are almost guaranteed to lose money by telling them that they can make money. You may not believe that you are selling a lie, but if you've watched this far, there is probably a part of you that is at least wondering if that's what you're doing. Now, if you find yourself in that position and you're still part of your company, then you're probably also feeling decision-making cognitive dissonance, the weight of making a choice that could affect the rest of your life. Maybe all your closest friends are in your MLM with you, and you're weighing the lifting of the recruiting burden against the possible exile and excommunication. Or perhaps you've been justifying all the time and money that you've been spending on your business with the resolution that one day it will have all been worth it. Sunk cost fallacy is, again, a video for another day. And it comes down to a choice between fully embracing that pipe dream and blocking out anything that distracts from it, and accepting the loss, cutting ties, and not giving the company any more of your time and money going forward. Effort-based cognitive dissonance happens to an extent every single time more than 90% of MLM distributors receive a paycheck. While many leaders in the industry like to say that people who are not successful simply didn't want to work the business or they didn't work it hard enough, we know from our personal experiences and from the late John M. Taylor's excellent 2011 study for the Consumer Awareness Institute, the case for and against multi-level marketing, that this is simply not true. There are many incredible and educational videos out there on YouTube that get into exactly how we know that an individual's paycheck in MLM is not a direct reflection of the time and effort that they've put into it. And I'll link one or two below that I specifically recommend. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just treating it as common knowledge. John Kuna identifies 3 main ways to resolve cognitive dissonance. The first is change existing beliefs, attitudes, behaviors, thoughts, ideas, or information to eliminate the mental conflict. The second is add or learn new beliefs, attitudes, behaviors, thoughts, ideas, or information. And the third is reduce the importance of the beliefs, attitudes, behaviors, thoughts, ideas, or information. In my opinion and in my experience, MLMs actually utilize these methods themselves, but in ways that, instead of resolving cognitive dissonance, attempt to prevent it from occurring in the first place. They attempt to eliminate mental conflict in their distributors by subtly and slowly introducing new beliefs, attitudes, and values to replace the ones that might clash with the behaviors their reps are encouraged to engage in. This is because most of the time, unless the participant is considered valuable enough to the group to begin their process of love bombing and indoctrination all over again, once the cognitive dissonance has set in, it's the beginning of the end. There is actually very little, in my opinion, that most people have to do once they've begun to doubt in order for them to begin to resolve the feeling on their own. And more often than not, it doesn't end up looking good for the company. Ultimately, in my opinion, there's a single surefire way to combat and resolve cognitive dissonance, and that is to choose to have an open mind. One way that MLM companies and other high-demand groups and organizations combat cognitive dissonance among their ranks is by forcefully encouraging participants to only consume information about their group or company produced by their group or company. Once you decide that you want the truth, the real truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Sorry, I had to do it. Once you remove the wool from your eyes and seek out facts with an open mind, statistics, horror stories, exposés, documentaries that your MLM did not ever want you to see or understand, or in many cases even know about. And once you make the decision to allow your strongly held beliefs to change when new information is introduced, you will start to feel the butterflies begin to fade gradually. Probably really gradually, if we're being honest. That's not to say they won't be replaced by other not always pleasant feelings as you figure out what to do with your newly reclaimed independent thought, but it is as good a start as I could put together for you today. And as I always say, I really hope that this video can help even one person. So that's gonna wrap up this part of my series on cognitive dissonance. Wait, this part, you may be asking. And the answer is yes, there will be more on this topic. I really want to try covering these manipulation tactics in multiple formats. I understand that not only do people just generally tend to absorb new information better in different ways, but also that there is so much neurodiversity among the people who may need to hear it. So in addition to this informational video, I'm really excited to tell you that I will also be recording an unscripted conversation about cognitive dissonance between myself and a guest. If by the time I edit this video, I have figured out when that will be recorded and who I will be speaking with, I will put it on the screen right here. This is a format I would like to try out for a series covering multiple similar themes, including faith manipulation, love bombing, and grooming. If there are any other cultic manipulation tactics that you would like to see covered in this way with an anti-MLM spin, please leave feedback in the comments below or send me an email at mich@spoonstop.com. And thank you so much for supporting my channel. Bye!